If you did not attend or watch yesterday's 2016 National Honors and Awards ceremony, you missed a wonderful reminder of the many good things being done by just some of the many good people in Jamaica. Their stories of public service, gallantry, and distinction are reminders that the possibility of greatness is within each of us. Hi there, I'm Carrie Ann Smith. Thanks for joining us on this Post-Heroes Day edition of Jamaica Magazine.
When I didn't like school and Mommy used to have to wake me up.
Tabla, hurry up. You're going to be late for school.
Hey, now that I have a tablet, you don't need to wake me up. Since Mommy and Daddy bought me a tablet, I use my tablet for all kinds of cool stuff. I use my tablet to read books. I use my tablet to learn about history and science. I use my tablet to help with my homework. I even use it to talk to my daddy at work. Hello, Daddy!
Learning is easy and fun with a tablet. Take care of your tablet. Use it wisely.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, October 18. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he will be thoroughly reviewing the report he has received on the deaths of 4 newborns at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital last month. The babies who were in the hospital's special care nursery died within 2 days of birth. The health minister says investigations have shown that the infants' deaths were linked to the Group B Streptococcus GBS infection. The report further determines that in all cases the transmission was from mother to infant rather than a healthcare facility-associated infection. Dr. Tufton says consultations will be held with experts once he has completed his review of the report. He also expressed condolences to the families and said guidance and counseling services would be provided. The committee that drafted the report into the death of the newborns has made a number of recommendations for hospitals offering maternity services. They include the establishment of a protocol for administering antibiotic treatment to all patients in premature labor and mothers with fever in labor. In addition, the infection control team is to ensure that the Ministry's Infection Control Audit Instrument Checklist or monitoring tool is used on a monthly basis. And it's recommended that an infection control nursing post be established and the procedures for routine cleaning be strictly adhered to. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging business owners to focus more on quality assurance systems to make their businesses more competitive. Mr. Holness asserts that Jamaican companies tend to focus more on being price competitive, which too often depends on the volume of goods and services provided.
Quality assurance is a key factor in our enterprises and industries being competitive, securing markets, and building customer-consumer confidence in our products.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the Bureau of Standards Biennial National Quality Awards ceremony last week. The ceremony rewarded enterprises in the manufacturing, service, small business and agriculture sectors that have applied standards and quality systems in their production and service delivery. Sport Minister Olivia Grange says government will be seeking to leverage the island's sporting brand for greater development. She says this will be done through the further development of Jamaica's sport program and an integrated marketing strategy.
We are developing a comprehensive investment strategy and program to maximize the benefits to be gained from the positive exposure through global sport.
Minister Grange was speaking at Saturday's Rio Gala honoring the island's Olympic and Paralympic teams to Rio 2016. The gala formed part of a 3-day $82 million program dedicated to the athletes. $42 million of that money was used to give cash prizes to the athletes, their coaches and other officials at the Olympic Games. Other events included a private reception hosted by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, a 5K run walk in aid of charities in Western Jamaica, and a reception at the Melia Braco Hotel in Trelawney. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, meanwhile, has instructed the Ministers of Tourism and Sport to build a legacy symbol to represent the athletes who participated in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Mr. Holness says once the concept has been developed, public participation will be invited to complete the concept.
What we are doing here is just symbolic to show that we care about you, our athletes, because you bring pride to our nation. You make Jamaica's name fly high in the world. and we could never pay you for what you have done in building brand Jamaica.
The island's leaders are calling on citizens to use our national heroes as inspirations to chart a course for a better Jamaica. In his National Heroes Day message on Monday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the nation's youth must be taught to respect freedom, which is constrained by crime.
Let us recommit on this National Heroes Day to respect life, to continue the tradition of our forebears, to promote the liberty and happiness of our fellow Jamaicans, not to their demise. Our heritage, indeed, can provide the wellsprings from which we draw strength.
In the meantime, Leader of the Opposition, Portia Simpson Miller, called for a more inclusive society and economy which caters to all Jamaicans.
Our youth must be included in our plans and programs as they will become the custodians of our national heritage.
And finally, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is now reviewing student council bodies to ensure that they are actively engaged in functioning at an optimal level.
You have a position to play by law. It is enshrined in the Education Act. And as such, we expect that every single secondary school will have a student council president, a student council body, and that president will sit on the board of the institution and participate in the governance of the school.
State Minister Floyd Green was addressing the inauguration ceremony of the National Secondary School Council recently. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thank you for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Jamaica gets staff-level IMF agreement for a successor economic program, and the Prime Minister announces a raft of measures to diversify offerings in the country's mortgage market. We look at those and other developments in this week's roundup of Jamaica House engagements. As you would have seen in our first feature, government and the International Monetary Fund have reached a staff-level agreement for a 3-year precautionary standby agreement. As we look forward to this new economic arrangement with the IMF, let's revisit some of what has already been achieved through the existing program.
Policy implementation under the Economic Reform Program has remained exceptionally strong since the start of the program. The economy continues to reflect generally positive trends.
Key indicators for the country as at July 2016 continue to show clear signs that the economy is improving. The Planning Institute of Jamaica estimated gross domestic product GDP growth for the second quarter, April to June 2016, to be 1.1%.
It was a good, strong number. And what we see in this estimate is that all the sectors across the board, except for mining and government services, grew.
This momentum is expected to continue along a trend of increased growth as recorded over the last 4 years.
So if we look back to the January to March quarter, it was 0.8. Remember the April to June is 1.1. So the quarter before, which is January to March, is 0.8. And the quarter before that, which is October to December, is 0.6. So there's a kind of build-up in the rate of growth of the GDP.
The goods-producing industry recorded growth of 2.3%, while the services sector grew 0.8% for the first quarter of the fiscal year April to June, compared to similar period last year. In the goods-producing industry, agriculture recorded the strongest growth, up 7%, manufacturing up 0.7%, and construction up 0.4%. Mining and quarrying declined by 1.3%. Under services, all industries grew with the exception of government services, which is down 0.2%. Electricity and water industry went up 5.5%, and hotel and restaurants up 1.6% over the same period last year.
Manufacturing has been modest and steady, and on the positive side, influenced very strongly by the Petrojam factory, which is a very high value output manufacturing operation. So that tends to skew the performance of manufacturing quite a bit. Construction, modest but positive also.
Economic growth in Jamaica is recovering gradually. The growth in fiscal year 2015-16 has been revised up to 1%, driven by agriculture and manufacturing. Growth is expected to reach 1.7% in the current fiscal year 2016-17 as ongoing investments crystallize and agricultural recovery continues.
Preliminary balance of payments data released from the central bank pointed to the current account showing a surplus of $116.3 million for the quarter January to March 2016. This is an improvement of $136 million relative to the corresponding period in 2015. The outturn for this quarter contributed to a current account deficit of $259.3 million, or 1.9% of GDP for fiscal year 2015-16. The current account measures everything the country buys abroad in goods and services versus everything that it sells, with the balance being the current account deficit or surplus.
And I say this is a remarkable number. Back in 2013, it was 9 point something percent, and for us to get down to 1.9 is tremendous. What that means is that we have enormous savings of foreign exchange. So very good news on the balance of payments side.
The savings were influenced by decreases in oil prices and improvement in tourism performance over the same period last year.
To the extent that the growth agenda is able to move forward, and I would add that we are seeing some green shoots and it all needs to come together. We see agriculture recovering, we see manufacture recovering, we see tourism improving. So there are lots of pockets of growth that are happening. The BPO sector is growing. So I think once this growth gets deeply entrenched, the unemployment rate is going to come down, and that will, lift the whole base up, and that's the goal we have.
The Bank of Jamaica BOJ report for the quarter ending June showed continued expansion of credit to the private sector, up 11.9% in real terms. Increased business lending was reflected in credit to the tourism, electricity, gas, and water, as well as professional and other service sectors. BOJ reduced interest rate on the 30-day certificate of deposit to 5%, the lowest policy rate on record. Looking at selected fiscal and monetary indicators for July 2016, central government had a primary surplus of $36.4 billion, far ahead of the budget of $14.2 billion, and this is due to reduced government spending. Revenue collection of $153.8 billion for the first 4 months of the fiscal year 2016-17, up 7.7%, is above target of $142.9 billion and significantly above the same period last year.
Debt remains on a downward trajectory, and the recent liability management operation has reduced refinancing risks. The government remains strident in its goal to promote equity, efficiency, and uniformity in the tax system. And with the full support from the IMF, will continue efforts aimed at rebalancing from direct taxation towards more broad-based and growth-inducing indirect tax measures.
And as tax collections continue to outperform budget in July, the best performances categories were GCT, up $2.4 billion, PAYE up $2.4 billion, and company tax up $1.5 billion. Travel tax and tax on interest were the main underperformers. Annual inflation is continuing at record lows, with 0.9% in June and 0.5% in July, while the net international reserve NIR at the end of August was at $2.52 billion, comfortably in excess of even the IMF target of $1.44 billion for the end of September.
The government continues to be fully committed to the reform agenda and is escalating efforts aimed at boosting growth and job creation, as well as strengthening the social protection framework, while maintaining a prudent fiscal posture.
The JIS Heritage Competition is back. Enter your essay, poster, or photo and win big prizes. If you're aged 9 to 12 years, enter the essay competition and tell us who is your favorite Jamaican sportsman or sportswoman and why. High school students, enter the poster competition. This year's theme is Jamaica's Rich Sporting Heritage. If you're a tertiary level student, enter the photo competition. This year's theme is I Am a Sports Champion. Competition closes for all 3 categories on November 6. Get started now. For information on submission and competition guidelines, visit our website at jis.gov.jm. Call 926-359-024, extension 2137, or send an email.
Is it too early to look forward to the new year? Probably. But it's not too early to start thinking about the next stage in your academic life, particularly if you're looking to attend university next year. That's because most tertiary schools begin accepting applications as early as January, and the window of admissions is not very wide. So today, to help your decision-making process, we have one suggestion that comes with some dynamic and exciting career opportunities.
The CMI is a multidisciplinary tertiary educational institution, training students to meet the needs of the international shipping, logistics, and supply chain management sectors. It provides both land-based and seafarers training and is the only recognized institution in the Caribbean catering to this niche market.
So it's no longer just about what we do in Jamaica, but it's how we can connect with the rest of the world. This is why at the Caribbean Maritime Institute we first went for global accreditation on all our programs. That's why we are ISO 9001-2008 accredited by Lloyd's. And in short order, we are going for the ISO 14000 environmental certification.
The institution offers a range of courses through its engineering, marine, security, and shipping programs.
We offer 7 Bachelor of Science degrees at the Caribbean Maritime Institute, from port management, logistics and supply chain management, international shipping. We even have a degree in cruise tourism and marine management. So that's excellent. We have an integrated security degree program, right? And all of these programs are in demand. But within those degrees, you actually get competency-based certification. That's internationally accredited.
Most degree, diploma, and certificate programs require specific subjects and prerequisites as part of the admission requirements.
We usually ask for 5 CXCs as a minimum entry, including math and English. Physics is a great subject to have. It will give you a push ahead. But chemistry and integrated science, the technical drawing, these subjects are good.
You may apply to the Institute online or submit your application form to the school with a few critical documents. The school generally accepts applications from January to April of each year. Loans are available to all eligible students through the Students' Loan Bureau, and an installment plan is available for those who need it. And if you're still not convinced about the CMI for your university experience,
The CMI has the best record among all tertiary institutions in Jamaica with placement into jobs after graduation within 6 months. Right now our success rate is over 90%, and I think that is tremendous.
For more about the Caribbean Maritime Institute and its offerings, visit the institution online at cmi.edu.jm or on site at Norman Manley Highway, Palisadoes Park, Kingston.
If your interest is piqued, keep watching to see some of the jobs you could pursue with a CMI degree.
Maritime jobs are hard to find, or they can be if you don't know where to look. So we have a few tips.
There are many different ways to get a job. Just like myself, you can be walking down the beach and bump into somebody and be at the right place in the right time and get very lucky. Other people know somebody already in the industry who gives them a word-of-mouth referral. Those are both very common ways into the industry.
First, start at the port. Most ports have a management team that takes care of scheduling and other port-related tasks. These will be the first people who hear about job openings, and they might even maintain a job board. So get out of the house and get hunting. You could also use the internet. Large shipping corporations don't often advertise jobs. They may just post openings on their websites or not at all. Do a search for keywords like fishing or shipping to see what corporations are near you and check their sites. Or even try calling human resource to see if any jobs are available. A must for this industry: network. Get to know major players in the industry and the ordinary workmen who will be a fountain of information about job vacancies, and build relationships so that even if a job is not at hand now, when one comes on shore, you'll be the first one called. And finally, think about land jobs. Remember, there is a whole sector of jobs for people in the shipping industry that requires work on land instead of actually on a ship. You can consider jobs at ports, in maritime education, and more. Good luck.
And that's how we draw the curtains down on Jamaica Magazine today. Another show is already in production for tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. In the meantime, our social media handles are coming on screen right now. Use them to stay in contact with us. Until next time, I'm Carrie-Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.